Hey everyone, welcome to another day of Psyched About Psych. Today we are going to talk about, let's keep it short, 10 tips on surviving your school psych internship. All right, so on that note, number one. So first and foremost, it's very important to stay organized. Well, what does this mean? What this means is it keeps everything organized and it keeps you on track. So I wasn't writing down things in my to-do list. I wasn't keeping a calendar. Simple things like that. Having sticky notes really works for me. I'm a very visual person, visual learner. So in the beginning of my internship, I didn't do any of those things. And I just strictly tried to remember, like being told, and trying to remember it in my short-term retrieval. So it wasn't easy, and there were many things because life can be so stressful outside of work and school. Okay, schedules, documents, deadlines, all of that. Your caseload may be minimal, may be small, because my job right now, my caseload is very manageable, but it can get very stressful if you have a huge caseload, you don't have a lot of helping hands around you. Number two, time management. Now, this goes hand in hand with organization. Time management is so important because, like deadlines, there's going to be many throughout the school year. Now, you may say, oh, I'd rather have a sporadic, not as big caseload. But the problem is if you're not on time and if you don't manage your time wisely, those deadlines will come sooner than later, and you never know if another problem arises during the school year. Number three, communication. Okay. Create a place where you can effectively communicate, okay? And you want to communicate, keyword, effectively. You want to have good emotional control, self-control. You want to regulate your emotions. Working on yourself is a huge part of this job, because if you are stressed or emotional, or you're just really bad at self-control and you're really bad at just all of that stuff, Louis is gonna pay a visit. Ready? Louis is a school psych too. It's going to be very helpful if you are communicating with your supervisor. What this means is, of course, letting her know what's going on, letting her know when you're stressed, if something's too much, if a task could be shortened, because you have every right to communicate your needs and your wants and your feelings to your supervisor. If you have a good relationship, honestly, should be another tip is try to build good relationships with the people at your site, because they may down the road be great for references. They will be. And also they could give you and call you up if the opening pops up, like if there's a job opening. Okay, next. Reflect regularly. Take time to reflect on your experiences and learning. Keep a journal, make notes, track your progress. So you should always have a notebook handy, because there's always going to be scenarios that may come up again to the surface, or maybe you work better jotting down things as you go. It's going to be really helpful to have a notebook also for journaling, because, well, you may not remember everything that goes on in your day-to-day, and maybe you want to be better for the next day. I mean, you should want to be better. So it's good to have that journal, notebook, whatever you want to call it, handy on the side. Number six, cultural sensitivity. Within culture, there's religion, there's sexual identity, sexual orientation, there is socioeconomic status. Each one of us comes from different walks of life and different experiences, and maybe raised differently and have different values, beliefs. Oh, if something comes up and you all disagree, it's normal. It's really good to be sensitive to these differences, because you never know. You just got to be mindful. It's like that you may have an assumption about someone based off of like how they may be behaving, or something they may say at a CSE or a CPSE meeting, and you're like, wow, that person was so rude. When in reality, that's just part of their culture to have those beliefs and values. And you don't want to treat anyone differently based off of their beliefs. Okay, one thing about being an effective school psychologist, or a characteristic that makes up a effective school psychologist, is someone who doesn't have any biases towards anyone, or assumes like things about people before really getting to know them and getting all the facts. We are, like my professors always said, we're like undercover, like secret agents. We are trying to find all the clues, all the information, all the data. We're investigators. And before saying anything or making any decision, you want to gather all of the facts. Facts, not biased opinions. You want to make sure you're getting it from all different areas, all areas covered. Number 7, I already mentioned this, but we talked about self-care. Why? That seems a little selfish. No. Self-care is so important. Why do people advocate for self-care in society? Because we have to take care of ourselves. We are also a priority, okay? Obviously, the people we work with and work for, but ourselves, because if we're going into work with yesterday's baggage or yesterday's stress, and the stress is carrying over, it may carry over into your work. And it's not a productive environment if all we're doing is just remaining in a negative space or a negative mentality, okay? We need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually, all different areas. Internships can be intense, so this is just an area that we really should prioritize and maintain really healthy balance, okay? Whether that's stress related with your internship directly or indirectly. And another thing I just want to mention, sorry to react that way, is that one thing that I really noticed is that I got burnt out when I was very overwhelmed at my internship, or if I just wasn't reducing my stress effectively, I kind of carried that over, or gained resentment even for whatever feelings I had the last time. And it's like, you really got to work on relieving your stress, because that could ultimately impact your workflow, your productivity, and you may even have some negative feelings about somebody because of that stress. It may create negative interactions. That's another one, negative interactions with people. So you want to keep your mind healthy, your body healthy, because it's going to manifest into the environment around you. Okay, Louie, you're free to go. Freedom. Number 8. We're just going to keep going. We got a couple more. Number 8, professional development. Not only will you learn in your internship, but there's a lot of stuff out there that's just waiting for us to just look into, whether it's online or an article or a subscription to somewhere, or keeping different areas of communication open with people in the field or your colleagues. It's really good to just have all of these things staying up to date. It's good to have all these connections made and staying up to date with what's going on, because this is a field, psychology is a field that's always adapting, changing. Things come up, things are happening where we have to adapt. So it's really good to attend workshops, conferences, NASP conferences, or NIASP if you're in New York, and other opportunities, okay? And then maybe if you're working in a school or a nonprofit, they could reimburse you if you want to take any classes or gain some knowledge and experience. So it really pays, because it's so important to enhance our skills. We never will know everything. There will never be a time in our lives where we just know everything. We've gained all the knowledge. Even working in the field for 30 years, there's always more to learn. Psychology is life, right? So psychology involves everything in our day-to-day. It's human, it's humanity, and we are studying how essentially the school system works, and we are people coming from where we live, coming all together to learn in one place and advocate for children. And it's we are also responsible for everyone around us. If that makes sense. I feel like I'm kind of trailing off, so I'll just keep it plain and simple. Enhancing and staying up to date. Perfect. Okay, number 9, flexibility. It doesn't have to be something crazy like a crazy like storm or something happened where like the school was like a half a day and you have to leave and your workload is increasing. It could just be like, these students aren't in today. So now all those plans you had change, or one student is dealing with a recent death in his family and he won't be in school for a week or two, or there's this teacher is, you know, that she's going through something and you can't really work with her, so now you have to move around your schedule. So it's always like, as psychologists, we're supposed to be pros at adapting, right? Adaptation. We're kind of like the spokespeople for adaptation because that's such a huge part of life, and I feel like we really advocate for those parts of our lives and are there as a resource for other people to gain that skill, because being flexible is such a huge, important skill. Also, you shouldn't be closed-minded at all. You know, like, of course, you can stick to how you want to do things, how you want to run your area of expertise, but you should always be open to things because, like I said, school psychology or psychology in general is ever changing, and there's always things that just pop up or flip the switch on how to run things, so it's good to be flexible. Last but not least, learn from challenges. So there's always going to be challenges, whether that's, you know, someone is treating you indifferently, or, you know, you have to deal with confrontation, or, you know, you have to have a really serious conversation with your supervisor because they're doing X, Y, or Z. They're not giving you whatever, because it's okay to advocate for ourselves, right? So let's say that you're facing challenges, you know, we can't just let ourselves like get hurt by these challenges, because there's always going to be something difficult that comes up in this field. There's always going to be something difficult that happens. It's not an easy field. The school environment is not easy either. So it's like being a school psychologist, obviously we're going to come across many different challenges, and it's always good to just adapt, gain resilience over time, problem solve, have a plan A, plan B, plan C, all the way to Z. It's really good to just always have like a backup plan and just an open mindset. So take growth mindset. Yes, not fixed. Take what resonates, okay? So remember, your internship is a valuable chance to apply your theoretical knowledge in a real world context and develop practical skills. And it's such a great opportunity to become more aware of course, our job, but also ourselves. And it's like when we are connected to ourselves, we're connected to everything around us. So like I said, with practicing good self-care techniques, that will ultimately have a positive effect on our overall job productivity and mindset, which will create amazing opportunities in the workplace. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. More content to come. Thank you so much for coming here. Stay tuned. Hit that like, subscribe, share, do what you gotta do, get this ball rolling, and I will be back. Bye, guys.